Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, mon nom est Jeff Chamy, président, directeur général de la Fondation du cancer des cèdres. Je suis très content de vous accueillir ici ce soir. Ladies and gentlemen, an honor to welcome all of you to World Cancer Day public lecture here in the City of Westmount in the most wonderful community center called Victoria Hall. Je suis heureux que vous soyez avec nous ce soir, que ce soit en personne ou en ligne. I wish to recognize, because we're in Westmount, we have with us tonight the mayor of Westmount, Michael Stern. We have Councillor Jonathan Chomsky and Councillor Gurveen Chadha. And I want to do a shout out, Mr. Mayor, to the wonderful library and community events organization that welcomed the Cedars here in Westmount to put on this event for all of you, a public, free, bilingual evening of information honoring, commemorating February 4th, World Cancer Day. Je tiens à remercier la Ville de Westmount qui nous a permis d'utiliser cet espace à Victoria Hall et qui nous a aidés à promouvoir l'événement. Today on World Cancer Day, ladies and gentlemen, people watching virtually, and I know there's a lot of you, I can see all the numbers. We join millions and millions of people around the world in reflection, in solidarity, and in hope. The theme, United by Unique, resonates deeply with the Cedars Cancer Foundation at McGill because it captures the truth that we see every day. Each person, each woman and man who walk through the doors of the Cedars Cancer Center at the MUHC brings their own story, their own strengths, their own fears, and their own needs and their hopes. And yet, in that individuality, we find our greatest source of unity. United by Unique reminds each and every one of us that we have a responsibility to provide compassionate, patient-centered care. At Cedars, we've always believed that exceptional cancer care must address the whole person, not just their disease. And that's why at Cedars, I'm very proud, and our board and our volunteer leadership, we're so proud to be supporting the MUHC Division of Supportive and Palliative Care for many, many years. And we have with us tonight a keynote speaker, Dr. Justin Sanders, the director, the division director of Palliative and Supportive Care. La grande majorité des patients suivis par les soins de soutien et des soins palliatifs au CUSUM sont atteints de cancer. Nous voulons nous assurer qu'ils reçoivent des soins personnalisés et de grande qualité à chaque étape de leur parcours, de diagnostic jusqu'à la fin de vie. Over the past 10 years, Cedars has invested almost $20 million in supportive and palliative care programs, services. You've heard through, and you'll learn tonight, through our co-leads, our co-directors of Cedars Can Support, psychosocial oncology, all the supportive care programs and services, which make a difference in the lives of our cancer patients. In addition, we've committed to fundraise another $15 million through our Together Against Cancer capital campaign to build a center dedicated entirely to whole person cancer care. Tonight, I'm pleased to announce, and I'm going to allow Dr. Sanders to talk about it, but to announce the construction of the new Cedars Whole Person Care Cancer Center. It's about to begin, and it will open at the end of 2026. This center will represent years of vision, collaboration, and generosity from our community. Les dons des donateurs that have made transformative gifts helping our cancer patients. It'll be the first kind in Quebec because it'll be part of the hospital. It'll be adjacent to the MUHC, just across at 5252 de Maisonneuve West, right beside the Vendôme Metro Station. It'll house clinics, psychosocial oncology, support programs, wellness programs, survivorship transition services, all under one roof. Ce sera un endroit où les patients atteints de cancer du CUSUM, peu importe leur âge, leur parcours ou leur diagnostic, pourront recevoir des soins adaptés à leurs besoins uniques et qui favorisent leur santé et leur bien-être. I'm very grateful, ladies and gentlemen, to have these extraordinary men and women with us tonight who you're going to hear from. We have, as I mentioned, the head of the Division of Supportive and Palliative Care and the Cappy Flanders Chair in Palliative Care, Dr. Justin Sanders. We have the co-directors of Cedars Can Support, Dr. Virginia Lee and Anna Burgos. I know they're on my, here they are. We have with us Dr. Sinziana Dumitra, a surgical oncologist, an incredible surgeon, and her incredible patient, Alex, who will give a testimonial. And Dr. Dumitra, we're so grateful that you're with us tonight, and Alex, for you to tell your story. And ladies and gentlemen, on the 10th anniversary of founding of the Bell Fund and Comfort Kit, we have Judy Martin, who you all know, ambassador extraordinaire here in Westmount and around the world. Judy has brought inspiration and hope to so many newly diagnosed cancer patients who navigate their cancer treatment and diagnosis. And Judy, we can't wait to have you address us tonight. So without further ado, because my team is telling me to move the clock, I wish to invite Dr. Justin Sanders, Director of the MUHC Division of Supportive and Palliative Care, to say a few words. Justin, before I call you up, for those participating by Zoom, please keep your microphones on mute at all times, unless you want to ask a question during the Q&A. And you can send in your question, we'll read it. You can ask your question. Vous pouvez poser des questions en français. On va répondre en français. Ici à Westmount, everything is bilingual. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the most highly bilingual community in the country. Mr. Mayor, I read StatsCan. Those living in Westmount speak both languages beautifully. Félicitations. Avant de céder la parole à nos conférenciers, je veux demander aux personnes qui participent par Zoom de garder leur micro fermé en tout temps. Without further ado, and my wife said, don't say that. Daphne, I apologize. Ladies and gentlemen, the director of the Division of Palliative and Supportive Care on this United by Unique World Cancer Day special evening, Dr. Justin Sanders.
Thank you, Jeff. You may have to kick me off because I don't have my phone with me, so I don't know what time it is or how much time I'm going to take. But I'm really grateful to be here. Of all the themes of the World Cancer Days that we've celebrated together in the last few years, I think this is my favorite because I think it speaks to how I feel about my work on a daily basis. And so I thought I'd share a little bit about my work because I think a lot of people, when they hear what I do as a palliative care physician, it can be a very quick end to a conversation at a cocktail bar because, or at a party because people have a strong feeling that what I do is depressing or difficult. And I think I have the best job in healthcare, so I think it's important to tell you about it. And then I'm going to tell you, I'm going to ask for your help, actually, at the end of this. A patient of mine died last week. That happens not infrequently because I do take care of people at the end of life. She was 39 years old. She had cervical cancer that she lived with for many years. One of the things I loved about this person was that she never let cancer get in the way of her life, ever. She loved food. In fact, she had a food blog with her sister, and I remember her showing me pictures from the various restaurants that she would go to, and we would talk about them, all the restaurants around Montreal. And it was one of our favorite things to talk about together. She had a cat that she loved. One time when she was in the hospital, she brought that cat to in our palliative care unit, she had the cat in her room. And I remember spending a few minutes trying to use my ID with my Cedars tag to try to get the cat to come out from under the bed to say hello. She had a big Italian family that she loved, and she was always with her sister. She came to the medical school to teach some of our medical students because she was really passionate about helping doctors do better. And the thing that she wanted to help them do better at is to get to know the person in front of them. And I think that in my experience working in cancer over the last almost 20 years, I've come to feel that there is an outcome that's actually worse than not being cured of your cancer.
Grateful for my
which is
friends
not
who
being
teach me
known
so much.
through the course of your treatment for cancer. There are people that come to the end of their lives with cancer and they say, I felt like a number through much of my experience. I felt like I was never really understood for what was important to me. And there are other people who come through their cancer journey and they say, the last year was the best year of my life when I had cancer. Because I had the experience of relating to people in ways that I never had the opportunity before. People endeavored to know and understand me and who I was, and I actually became something more through this experience. That's really powerful because, we think about what medical care is for and what cancer care is for, and we might say, well, of course, cancer care is to cure cancer. And yet, over half of people who are diagnosed with cancer die at some point from their cancer. Someone said to me last week, I was out west for a conference and someone said to me, I mentioned that I had had a patient that died that I was close to. And they said, oh, it must be very sad. And I said, well, it is sad, but I also feel so happy to have known this person. And I feel that all the time in my work. I feel it's part of the reason I think I have the best job in healthcare, because part of our work in palliative care is to really understand the things that drive people, the things that make people who they are, the things that make people unique as the patients that come to us. And that is a really, I think, the basis for caring for people. Because of course, when people come through our doors at the Cedars Cancer Center, they want treatment, they want to get better, they want the cancer to go away. But when they find that there are people there who understand who they are, whatever happens, because it's unpredictable, makes it okay, because life is unpredictable. So I'll tell you how, why do we do this? I think it's really important to understand that palliative care sort of based or grounded in two philosophical ideas or practices. The first is that suffering is multidimensional. People experience physical discomforts, but they also and as much experience emotional suffering, psychological suffering, spiritual suffering, social suffering, isolation, for example. The other idea is the idea that healing is possible through the course of a serious illness like advanced cancer. And what does that mean? Because usually when we talk about healing, we talk about sort of things going away, right? The cancer gets better and is gone, or we're cured of our cancer. But Balfour Mount, who coined the term palliative care and who precedes me by a couple people in my current job, said that healing is a relational construct of integrity and wholeness. And I think what's really key there is the relational part, right? This is something that happens in the context of relationships. Relationships, not just between people with cancer and the people who love them, but between people with cancer and the people who take care of them in the hospital. And so how can you help? Because I think it's really important that people understand these ideas. And what I always think is my responsibility is to come to places like this, to tell you a little bit about the work that we do, about the people that we care for, and then ask for your help. One of the things that I've had the privilege of doing is chairing the guideline committee for the American Society of Clinical Oncology, which is the guidelines that everybody looks to around the world to provide the best cancer care. And they look at all the evidence that's there and available, and they summarize it, and they make guidelines, they make recommendations to clinicians about what to do to make sure that they provide the highest quality cancer care. And the guideline committee that I served on looked at all the evidence to show that, to look at how we should include palliative care in cancer care. And what they said was, what the guidelines say is that palliative care should be integrated into the care of all patients with cancer, not those who are dying, not those who are at the very end of their life, but all patients, particularly with advanced cancer. Because we know that palliative care helps people live better, and it helps people live longer, and helps caregivers feel better no matter what happens, whether people survive or not. And so I need your help to help our community, our larger community, understand that. Because when I think about, when I talk to my oncology colleagues and I say, you know, what are we really trying to do in cancer care? Okay. Well, one, we're trying to help people live as long as possible and as well as possible. And if we don't incorporate palliative care into the process of advanced cancer care, for every patient with advanced cancer, then we miss a huge opportunity to do the thing that we say we want to do, which is help people live as well as possible for as long as possible. But the other reason is that it helps people feel known. And again, just as important as the treatment is that in the context of that treatment, you feel that you are known as the unique person that you are, okay? And I could tell stories all day long about my patients. I actually, like, less important to me is the cancer that they have than the person who has it. And my job is full of parents and grandparents and children and artists and musicians and physicians and business people and construction workers, people who love food, people who love animals, people who love sports, and all combinations of those people. It's magic to meet these people. So, and I know that my colleagues feel the same. So again, I'll ask for your help in helping make sure that the next time you encounter someone who has cancer, that you say to them, have you thought about talking to your oncologist about getting palliative care involved? Because we want people to benefit from being known, from the efforts that we take, that oncologists don't always have the time to, honestly, don't often have the time to take to get to know the people in front of them. It's part of the best cancer care that we can provide, and recognizing that every person who comes through our doors is unique and special. And I thank you for your efforts in helping everybody understand that.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sanders. Okay. Cedars Can Support provides vital programs and services that improve the quality of life and well-being of our cancer patients and their loved ones. I now want to invite the co-directors, Anna Burgos and Virginia Lee, to come forward and take the podium, and I'll ask Anna first. Anna?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Anna Burgos, and I have the privilege of serving as co-director of Cedars Can Support alongside Dr. Virginia Lee. In my role, I oversee the day-to-day operations that help ensure our programs and services run smoothly and effectively, and most importantly, with humanity, compassion, and dignity for every person we serve. On this World Cancer Day, as we reflect on this year's theme, United by Unique, we are reminded that every cancer journey is deeply personal, yet we are connected through our shared need for compassion, support, and community. It is truly an honor to be here with you tonight to share the work we do and the community that makes it possible. This evening, I'd like to tell you a little more about Cedars Can Support, who we are, and how we support patients, families through one of the most challenging times of their lives. So what is Cedars Can Support? In 1984, cancer survivor Gwen Andrews-Nakos discovered the power of simply being there for someone. That moment inspired her to create Cedars Can Support, offering compassionate support to anyone affected by cancer. Cedars Can Support is a free, comprehensive program for individuals facing cancer and for the loved ones who walk beside them, fully funded by the Cedars Cancer Foundation and managed by the MUHC within its supportive and palliative care division. Our services support the whole person, not just the disease, because cancer affects more than the body. It touches every part of life: emotional, practical, social, financial, and spiritual. Our mission is simple and deeply heartfelt. No one at Cedars Cancer Center should face cancer alone. Every person deserves care, compassion, and understanding. Jeff already said all of this. At Cedars Can Support, our volunteers are the heartbeat of everything we do. In fact, there are some of our wonderful volunteers here tonight. They bring compassion, comfort, connection to everyone on their cancer journey. They come from all walks of life, retirees, professionals, students, each contributing something uniquely their own. Sometimes they guide someone to a clinic. Sometimes they share a quiet cup of tea. Sometimes it's as simple as a smile, a kind word, a moment of reassurance. It's these small acts that make a big difference. I am pleased to share that we are currently recruiting volunteers for the Cedars Cancer Center. Come see me after the lecture. I'd love to show you how you can make a difference. Beyond the remarkable support of our volunteers, Cedars Cancer Support also offers free complementary therapies that nurture the body, the mind, and the spirit. We provide yoga, meditation, relaxation to ease the stress and restore a sense of calm. Through art therapy, creative writing, music, and even pet therapy, we support emotional well-being and self-expression. We also offer massage therapy, easing tension and bringing comfort when it is needed most. A cancer diagnosis can bring more than physical challenges. It can also bring real financial strain. Through the Cedars Wilfred Howick Humanitarian Fund, we're able to step in and help with the basics: rent, medications, groceries, hydro bills, transportation, the everyday essentials that suddenly feel overwhelming. So families can focus on what truly matters: treatment, healing, and time together. Some of our programs address deeply personal and emotional needs. Through our wig and head cover program, we provide free wigs and chemo hats, along with compassionate support, helping women experiencing hair loss maintain their dignity, confidence, and sense of self. Our Look Good, Feel Better workshops offer beauty and skincare guidance that helps patients feel more like themselves during treatment. We also create spaces for connection. Our Cedars Cancer Support Group offers a welcoming environment where people living with cancer can share their stories and draw strength from one another. For those grieving the loss of a loved one, our Healing Step-by-Step Bereavement Program offers gentle healing ways to comfort through nature, conversation, and community. Today, we celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Bell Fund. For a decade, Cedars Cancer Support volunteers have prepared and delivered comfort kits to patients beginning chemotherapy, each one thoughtfully created to offer warmth, encouragement, and the reassuring reminder that they are never alone. At its heart, Cedars Cancer Support is not just about programs or services. It's about people caring for people. It's about small acts of kindness, quiet moments of support, and walking beside someone when they need it most. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for caring, and thank you for supporting those whose lives have been touched by cancer.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Anna, very much. Dr. Virginia Lee, our other co-director.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. And it's a great honor to be here tonight and to meet everybody at the reception before. We saw so many stories. I was able to share and listen to so many different stories about how we really connected with patients. And what I wanted, everything Anna said was spot on about what Cedars Cancer Support is able to offer. What I wanted to bring to and talk to you about was a concept about social support. Cedars Cancer Support brings social support to life. And I'm a psychosocial oncology researcher as well as an oncology nurse. So before I came into my position, I did a lot of research, and social support is one of the most extensively studied factors in health research. Across many different populations, especially amongst the people living with cancer. The findings are consistently, remarkably the same across all these different patient populations. Higher social support is associated with better health outcomes and including better survival. So the practical resources, the guidance, the emotional presence, the reliable information that Cedars Cancer Support is able to offer each and every patient is exactly what the researchers mean when they talk about social support. It's not an abstract concept. This is what people sometimes think about research. It's not abstract, it's real. It's real people, clinicians, staff, volunteers, meeting patients where they are, listening to them, and then responding to give them what they actually need. And that's our motto in Cedars Can Support. It's about meeting the patients and attending to them one patient at a time. So the research on the concept of social support, it emerged around the 1970s, around the same time when the psychosocial oncology research era started as well. And I just wanted to highlight a couple of points about social support in cancer and link it in with how we provide services with Cedars Can Support. So first, the research shows that the perception of having support is what matters, sometimes even more so than the actual support that's received. Perceived social support matters. So knowing that Cedars Can Support is there, it acts as a safety net for when the person is ready to receive and to ask for help. It's just as meaningful as the actual support itself. And there are other studies that show just having one person in the person's whole cancer trajectory makes a big difference for the person to be able to cope, to be able to come to each treatment each time. One person makes a lot of difference. So actual support also is very effective because it introduces people to other new coping strategies. Sometimes these strategies come from nurses, doctors, psychologists, social workers, art therapists. Sometimes they come from peers, other cancer patients, and that's also very, very powerful when we share stories, which is a theme of World Cancer Day. Our peer support groups, our art therapy groups, creative writing sessions, our conversations we have, our volunteers in the resource center, in the hallways, these are very impactful because the patients are able to share experiences with each other. This normalizes what people are living through. And then they also notice that, they're not alone, that they are able to share and connect with somebody else who has a similar experience, and that decreases some of that sense of isolation. They swap strategies to make it more manageable, and then they listen to each other. And as Justin said, they feel understood and they feel like they are a whole person, not a number, not a cancer diagnosis, but it's actually the person who's living with the cancer diagnosis. A second important thing, a point about the benefits of social support is that it has to be wanted by the patient. It has to match the real needs of the patients, and it has to come at the right time. So often we have patients' family members who say, my daughter, my mother, my father needs help. Well, if the person's not ready to receive that help, it's not going to be as effective, which is one of the reasons why we, in our psychosocial oncology program, patients are able to self-refer themselves as well. But it has to be the right intervention at the right time. Can Support is a powerful example of how social support works well when it's personalized. And Can Support is not offering a one-size-fits-all resource. With so many programs and activities in hybrid, it's in person, it's online, that Anna had talked about, we can match the type of support the person needs at that moment. And that's very powerful. It's the right moment at the right time for the right person. So the third thing is timing matters. Research shows that the earlier the psychosocial support begins, the better. And the earlier patients connect with Cedars Can Support, the more protective and the more we're able to buffer the support that they need at the beginning of treatment, during treatment, after treatment, and even maybe 2 years or 3 years down the line when what we call the existential slap of realizing your mortality happens. So whenever people hear that the cancer diagnosis is confirmed, in the literature, it's called the existential slap. Because usually when we go through life, we do have this protective buffer. We assume we always have tomorrow. But when it's confirmed, it's really difficult to be able to accept, and it takes a lot of time, and people really need to do this on their own time to recognize and accept the existential aspect of a cancer diagnosis. So finally, social support can change how people experience illness as well. Scientists have theorized as to why social support is so powerful. People with higher perceived social support tend to have lower levels of stress and cortisol levels. The body's main, which is the body's main stress hormone, they tend to have lower blood pressure, and in some cases, higher levels of natural killer cell activity, which is an important part of the immune system. So social support isn't just a feel-good exercise. It may actually influence what's happening inside the body. 60 years ago, when the whole area of psychosocial support was starting to come about, it was common not to disclose a diagnosis of cancer to the patient. Now we have public lectures such as this one. We have dragon boat races. We have runs. We have walks. We rally together. We talk about it freely on social media, on YouTube. And we together, we fundraise for these programs and for research. When we speak openly about the diagnosis of cancer and our lived experience with cancer, we start to continue to shift this narrative. And from one of fear that was there very strong 60 years ago and silence to now one of understanding, resilience, and shared strength. And this is what exactly why we're all here today. It's what tonight's lecture is all about. So this evening, you're going to hear about Alex's experience with cancer, which led to a chain reaction of surprising and very unexpected outcomes and hope. And then you will hear about Judy's experience that led to a creation of a program that continues to touch the lives of thousands of patients 10 years later. These stories remind us that what begins as an individual experience can ripple outward in ways we never anticipated. And this can only happen when we talk and share stories. So the stories affect the narrator as much as the listener. And my hope is that you leave today seeing cancer support and social support not as a nice to have extra, but it's social support in action. When people reach out, they share stories, they become our building blocks to a greater network of support. And let's show how social support can go viral on social media, in our talking together. Let's make sure that everyone in our community knows that cancer support is here for them when they're able to reach out. And thank you for joining us here tonight. And let's start the storytelling together. Thank you.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Virginia. Thank you, Anna. As we mentioned before, 10 years ago, Judy Martin launched the Bell Fund with a mission to provide comfort and support to newly diagnosed cancer patients at the Cedars Cancer Center at the MUHC. Judy, not only are you an ambassador, you are an inspiration to so many. And I must tell you, ladies and gentlemen, to all the volunteers from Cedars that are in the house, to the incredible volunteers here at the City of Westmount, to the public that have come, this young lady is transformative. She's made a huge change in our community. Ladies and gentlemen, Judy Martin.
Tout d'abord, merci, Jeff, for going overboard as usual and how inspirational I am. J'aimerais remercier la Fondation pour l'invitation de venir parler ce soir. C'est, je pense, ma troisième fois à une présentation du Journée mondiale de cancer. I never knew there was a World Cancer Day before 2016. I think you only know there's a World Cancer Day if you're touched by cancer. Oh, hold on a sec, I forgot something. La vraie raison pour laquelle je suis ici, c'est la cloche. Anna, you didn't cry. 14 years ago, when I sat in a crappy little room at the Royal Victoria Hospital to be told I had cancer. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd be hearing those words. I lived a good life. I took care of myself. Yes, I love ice cream. But you look after yourself, and yet cancer finds you. I am what I would term a first-generation cancer patient because nobody in my family had cancer. So it was a surprise to me. Now, what I was lucky about was finding the lump in my breast, actually doing something about it very quickly, having been followed for years by my doctor, who to his dying day felt guilty that he had missed something. He didn't miss something. Sometimes in your life, you're unlucky and things grow in your body that grow very quickly. Again, I was lucky because very quickly, my surgeon, Ari Megradichian, who I think is online, told his friend, Nathaniel Buchanum, I just had to tell my friend she has cancer. When can you see her? Within 8 days of being told I had cancer, I was in the chemotherapy chair. We all like to bitch about our healthcare service, but if you need it, it's there for you. And I was very lucky because I was treated very quickly. I needed to be. The day before I started chemotherapy, which was June 8th, 2012, I'd had to cancel a golf game with my dad, which didn't please me that much because my dad didn't play that much golf with me to begin with. And I was looking forward to it. My older sister, Sally, arrived at our door, I thought to wish me luck, with a kit. And in the kit was a blanket, magazines, a water bottle, candy, a notebook and pen. I didn't carry it in the picnic basket that it arrived in because, honestly, it wasn't that easy to carry. But the night before that treatment, I packed my backpack, and I woke up the next day and I walked to the Royal Victoria Hospital from our home. And I did so every single treatment, which I was quite proud of because it was a 45-minute walk. But what it does for you as a patient is it gives you the opportunity to clear your head. So I arrived at the cancer center, which was at the Royal Victoria Hospital, and I had cried along the way, still not believing that I was walking in there getting treatment. And I particularly enjoyed when I walked beside a man who'd come out in his hospital gown to have his cigarette. And I thought, and I'm the one walking in here for the chemotherapy. But it's just the uniqueness of every patient's adventure. You have to find what works for you. And what works for me is humor. So for 15 months, I was treated. The other level of humor that I had was that summer, I started selling hats out of the back of my car that say shit happens. And I apologize for anyone who's offended because some people are. And I thought that was going to be my way of giving back to Cedars Cancer Foundation for the treatment I was going to receive. And we continue to do that to this day. So 15 months of treatment, I was very lucky. I felt well most of it. The one piece of advice I do give to cancer patients undergoing chemotherapy, take your anti-nausea drugs before you think you'll need them, because if you wait too long, you're going to have a terrible day. And that was what happened to me. My first treatment, I thought, I don't need those drugs. I'm not going to take them till I feel sick, but it's too late. So after 15 months of chemo, double mastectomy, radiation therapy, I thought we were done. And I went to Dr. Megadician for a follow-up, and he looks at me and he says, I'd like you to do something to give back to the patients. I'm sitting there going, I think I'm too busy. He knew what I was involved with, but I'll think about it. So when the man who saved your life, along with the team, asks you to do something to give back, you do think about it. And the only thing I could think about that had really helped me was the kit. And so 3 months later, I went back with the idea of, what about if we do a kit for patients? And he loved the idea. So then it was a question of partnering with somebody. And someone in Dr. Porter's office at the time told me, go to Cedars Cancer Foundation. It's the cancer mission. And so I was introduced to Jeff. And really, it was a match made in heaven for me because they provided me with the support I needed. Anna Burgos was sitting in the office, and then I knew each other. Our sons had gone to school together. And we quickly put together a team of people. The caveat was everybody had to be touched by cancer in some way. And I also wanted permission from Gwen Nakos, who ran Can Support and founded Can Support, because I knew that in the hospital, the Can Support volunteers were going to be the key to the success of the program, and they have been. L'autre chose qui était aussi important, on avait besoin d'argent. Et moi, je travaille en philanthropie, donc il y avait beaucoup de portes des fondations privées qui se sont ouvertes pour moi d'essayer de vendre l'idée de la trousse de réconfort. Et le président d'une fondation privée m'a invité avec ma sœur. C'est ma sœur qui a fait le contact, Susan, elle se cache en arrière. On est allé une journée au mois de juillet, il faisait 90 degrés dehors, et j'ai commencé à expliquer un peu l'idée de la trousse. Cette journée-là, comme j'en suis aujourd'hui, j'avais une foulard, mais il faisait 90 degrés dehors. Et je l'avais dit, you might be wondering why I'm wearing a scarf today. I'm always cold. And he remembered his father always being cold. So that door opened, and we were invited to send in a proposal. And to this day, they're our largest donor. And by the end of next year, they will have supported us for 10 years to the tune of $500,000. Our program costs $150,000 a year. We started at about $30 a kit, then it got to $70, and then we went back to our supplier and said, we can't do this anymore because it's too expensive. And so now, like Mark Carney, we've made a partnership with someone in China, and we bring everything from China. So, but we have one thing that I do truly believe in is loyalty, which is why we are at Cedars Cancer Foundation. We have had the same suppliers since day one. We told our supplier for the elements, we need to bring it down because we won't have enough money to sustain it. And he matched the price that we needed to by going to China. So we're very proud of that. We could not do this program without the volunteers, and I won't repeat too much because unfortunately, Jeff, Anna, Virginia, and Justin have all stolen elements of my speech. But we could not be more proud of the bell, of the stories of bell ringers. Ray over here came over to meet me, said, there she is in the back, you've got a twin in the front, wanting to show me her video. I love it when people do that. So if you're in this room and you've got a video, send them to us, send us your pictures, because one day I would like us to have a wall of people who've rung the bell. The bell is a celebration. It isn't a survivor bell. So we've had patients who've undergone chemo for the rest of their life. And one patient in particular, Paul, called me one day and he said, Judy, I'm going to end my life on chemo, but I want to ring the bell every month. And I said, Paul, do what you want, because it's a celebration of you and it's a celebration of who has helped you on your adventure. I was lucky. I was very well surrounded, as Virginia and Anna said. Not every cancer patient is lucky to have a team around them. I had a big family who wanted to help. I'm very independent, so the rules were, I'll let you in when I need you. And they were brilliant because they listened. So I was very lucky. But they fought over who would pick me up from chemo, because I did drive home from chemo. The bell says lucky, grateful, hopeful, as I said before. And I've explained the lucky, the grateful is obvious. I'm very grateful for the community that we have built around this bell and this kit. I was asked the other day, what are you most proud of? That is what I'm most proud of. We have not done it alone. And the hopeful is that everybody who walks through that door, who wraps himself in our beautiful blue blanket, feels that they are not alone. So I thank everybody for the support they've given, not only me, but our entire team. It has been a team effort, and one that I'm very, very proud of. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you for telling your story. I'd like now to invite surgical oncologist, Dr. Sinziana Dumitra, to speak to you all about compassionate care and the importance of perseverance. Dr. Dumitra.
Thank you so much for the invitation and the great honor to share a little bit of my story with you all today. First of all, thank you so much for your inspiring story and for sharing that with us. It was extremely touching, and now I know that we also have a bell. And I'd like to argue with Dr. Saunders that I actually have the coolest job at the MUHG, but you have the most important one. I am a surgical oncologist and I specialize in unique cancers. I treat retroperitoneal sarcomas, which occur in 1 in 400 people, 400 Quebecers per year. I also work with patients that have peritoneal carcinomatosis, which is basically stage 4 disease that spread to the peritoneum that we attempt to cure. And you will hear Alex's story. And what I want you guys to keep in mind through the rest of the conversation is that for the many successes that we have, we also carry with us hundreds of patients that are no longer here with us today. And we have to realize as doctors the importance of the patient-doctor relationship, and how much the 10 hours that we spend with patients throughout their lives, because we don't spend that much time with the patients. Maybe 10 hours in our offices can make such a big difference in their cancer journey and the rest of their lives. So I always tell patients that I am the expert in a very, very rare disease and very rare ways of treating it, but they are the expert in them. Our role is there to provide information, but mostly to understand the patient, where they come from, what their values are, what matters to them, how they've led their life up until the point that they are here getting the slap in the face, the slap of their life. And when treatment is no longer possible, how important it is for us to accompany them and to make them understand the lessons that we have learned from other patients, which is that the most important gift that all human beings have is time. And as a cancer patient, when you realize that the time is up, meaning cancer treatments don't work, everything that we have tried so far doesn't work, how important is that they build memories with their family and memories for themselves, and that they remain true to themselves in the whole process of cancer care. By treating rare diseases, we start oftentimes to think outside the box. And Alex will share with you the story of not giving up, of listening to patients. And when the patient tells you they're not willing to listen to what you have to say, to trust them in the process, because patient intuition is extremely important. And ultimately, as doctors, we're there for the patient's dignity. We're there for information, but mostly and most importantly, we're there to provide patients with dignity and for their ability to remain true to themselves. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Dumitra. I'd like to invite Alex Villalta to come and tell his story. Alex?
It's hard to follow all these speakers. J'aimerais commencer. Je m'appelle Alex Villalta. J'avais eu un cancer de leiomyosarcoma. I want to start by thanking my hero, Dr. Dumitra, who I'm grateful for her for being here and being allowed to share my story. In 2021, I got the most devastating news that I had cancer, a very rare and aggressive form of cancer called leiomyosarcoma. And when I got to the MUHC, I never expected that news. My first reaction was shock, then came the fear, then came the realization that I had to tell my children. I built up the courage and called them all that same night and told them I didn't want them or anyone to treat me any differently. I told them I was going to fight for them, and my wife and I was going to beat this. On my arrival, on my first visit at the MUHC, I met this wonderful doctor, Dr. Dumitra, and she said to me, I needed to start the chemo yesterday. 4 days later, I started getting chemo and never looked back. The staff at the MUHC don't make you feel like a number. You're not, you're a person. And I was treated by the utmost care by all the doctors. My first impression of Dr. Dumitra is that I was in good hands. I trusted Dr. Dumitra through every stage of my journey, and I promised never to give up. Dr. Dumitra has brought me to this point by thinking out of the box, and I am forever grateful. The strong support that we all need, from my wife to my family, my friends, my sister, was amazing. And let not forget all those great doctors at the MUHC helped me find the strength to keep a positive mindset, and positive mindset that gave me the strength to fight. Dr. Dumitra always told me, stop looking online, just take care of your family, spend time with your family. And I did. All the advice given to me by all the doctors was amazing. The advice I give to other patients is never give up. Trust your doctors and let them know you are going to fight. Don't be afraid to ask questions. They are there. They'll give you the right answers, and they'll speak the truth. She always spoke the truth. She never believed that I was going to win, but I won. I want to thank the Cedar Cancer Foundation for the generous care package when I first arrived, and the blanket is for me is a warm feeling of family support. And I'm sorry, it's just that I can't anymore. And anyways, when I was first diagnosed, I also want to thank Dr. Dumitra, Dr. Cabrera, Dr. Bessie Sao, Dr. Saleh, and many other doctors and nurses that saved my life and gave me the opportunity to ring this bell. I stand here today cancer-free and feel healthy and strong. Thank you.
Merci, Alex. Je veux remercier tous nos conférenciers ce soir pour leur présentation intéressante et émouvante. Your presentations, ladies and gentlemen, have been so thought-provoking, helpful. If I may, we hope you've learned something, ladies and gentlemen, tonight, and you're leaving with a renewed sense of hope, of inspiration. To the patients in the house and online, your courage motivates us. To the caregivers in the house and online, your compassion inspires us. And to all the healthcare professionals, the doctors, the nurses, allied health, social workers, anybody delivering care day in, day out, your dedication fuels our desire to do more and to do better. Ladies and gentlemen, on this World Cancer Day, may we continue to be united in our shared commitment to better cancer care, to better cancer support, and to better cancer outcomes for all. Merci à tous. Bonne soirée. Thank you.